look at the bands from Sweden in the 90s or Norway, and they've all played with each other. And I did this one album with this band, and I think it'd be so cool to have like in 20 years, people will be like, oh, and then the St. Louis scene, I tell you, they were just incestuous, like it'd be cool to be like the Catatonia, bloodbath of St. Louis, where everyone's like friends with each other and playing each other's bands. And like,
as we've been
I love that.
We've been trying to build a little Sweden here in St. Louis between like Bastard, his band Oracle, Harkonnen, Stormruler. It's like,
we're
all
like
kind of share the same people.
Yeah. So I'm totally fine with having like, a crew of people that
are just down
to do it, So fortunately, we're in that situation,
Hey, what's up, Vox&Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox&Hops Metal Podcast, brought to you by Sound Talent Media and Evergreen Podcasts, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians to talk about their lives, music, and craft beer. Hope you had a killer weekend. I most certainly did. This Vox&Hops episode is presented by Heavy Montreal. Heavy Montreal are Montreal's premier metal promoter, and they have a massive amount of killer gigs coming through Montreal throughout the month of November. 3 Days Grace is coming with The Warning and The Standstills on November 20th, and the Trinity of Terror tour featuring Ice Kills Nines, Black Veil Brides, Motionless in White, and Atreyu will be here in Montreal on November 21st. If you would like to get your tickets to any of these shows, head on over to their website, heavymontreal.com. I have put the link to that in the description of this podcast. I will be at some of these gigs, so you most certainly should come as well. Come hang out with me at some of these Heavy Montreal Presents gigs throughout the month of November. I am beyond stoked to have Heavy Montreal behind the Vox&Hops Metal Podcast. Now, before we jump into today's episode, I'd just like to ask you to follow the Vox&Hops Metal Podcast on the podcast platform of your choice. But more than that, I would love for you to tell a friend about the podcast. If it's someone in your life that just loves metal, mostly extreme metal, well, you should let them know that the Vox&Hops Metal Podcast exists. You could tell them that there are over 370 episodes where I hang out with some of the world's best metal musicians. We talk all about their lives and music while sharing a craft beer. If you were to encourage one of your extreme metal connoisseur friends to become a brand new Vox&Hops head, that would be something that I would truly appreciate. Now, today on the podcast, I'm very stoked to be back with Jason Asberry and Jesse Schobel of Stormruler. Get ready, everyone. This is Vox&Hops episode number 378.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I'm very stoked to be back with Jason Asberry and Jesse Schobel of Stormruler. Third time's the charm. Here we are hanging out, three-time alumni. Can't believe it. Not many people have been on the podcast three times. First time was back 279, episode 279, when you guys dropped your first album. And then we had a very little mini chat for Devastation on the Nation 2022, which was episode 338. Here we are now. This is going to be episode, who knows, 380 by the time this comes out.
Hey.
How are you guys doing?
Who's counting? What's that? Did you say, how are we doing?
We're doing well. Quite well. Yeah. We're a little rushed, but we're not bad.
And how are you, Matt?
I'm good. I was looking forward to chatting with you guys. I bumped you from one day to this day, and I knew I could do that because we're friends, and I like that.
Exactly. Yeah, we're easy. We're easy.
Let's just jump into it. Let's dance. How have you coped with this time? Since I saw you, I was very lucky to have seen you. I'm going to cough. I'm very lucky to have seen you when you guys came through Montreal on Devastation on the Nation 2020.
Oh, man, that was great.
On Devastation on the Nation 2022. How have you guys been since then? Busy guys.
Pretty busy. We recorded the record before Devastation, but ever since then we've been getting everything else. And like as soon as we got home from Devastation, our deadline to turn in everything was like 5 days later.
Yeah, we had to do a whole bunch of work. Like usually you get back from tour, you don't want to do anything. We had to like do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, we didn't have all together. We were like, we got to get band pictures on Saturday. We got to shoot a music video
we had like a week
Sunday
to do a month's worth of shit. So that was fun. So yeah,
but we made it happen.
Made it happen.
The storm way of last second on everything.
Yes, basically just a hurricane blows through, and then when it's over, we pick up the pieces and hope we get everything done.
I'm always very impressed by you guys because as we discussed back on 279, it just sort of happened. You're one of those stories that shouldn't make sense, and it does make sense. A band that just came together pandemic project, and all of a sudden you get put onto a playlist on YouTube, and then all of a sudden there's an email in your inbox, and it's Napalm Records, I want to sign you. They do sign you. The album comes out. It's a fucking success. And then here you are again, album 2. I'm gonna cough again. I'm sorry. I'm not even sick.
That's what you think.
And we got Sacred Rite and Black Magick coming out October 14th. So it's been a hurricane ride from the beginning till now. It's just amazing. And just that mentality of you have 5 days to get stuff done, but you have no choice but to do that because you guys are on a fucking roller coaster.
It's been like that since the beginning. Everything we've done has been last minute and by the skin of our teeth, but we somehow manage to get it done every time.
Like when things come through and sometimes they pile up, and then we bang out a bunch of tasks in like a couple days, and I mean, this next record like came rather on the heels of the first one. I mean, you know, like the next year, really, you know. So like, fortunately, we had a lot of this music already written, and the writing of this album commenced shortly after the first one.
I mean, honestly, I think that's why we decided to put out the first record then, because we had so much material. We wanted to just like hop on that and start getting it hot, but then that record took off and we had to go
and it's like, okay, well, let's spend a little more time on that one real quick and let these songs kind of marinate. And then like after coming back from our first little couple stretches, we focused hard on this record, and we're really happy with the way it came out, and couldn't be happier to have like these like 19, I don't know how 19 songs got written for this band like in such quick time. So like,
with a library of other
stuff going on with our other bands.
We've got
too,
probably
you
4
know,
more
like,
records.
It's like it's been a whirlwind, but a good whirlwind. Not like Hurricane Ian, you know.
No. I hope everyone's safe and stay safe, people. But that pushing out stuff so quickly and you guys collaborating obviously so well together, you should use that, because it could be a moment. There's moments where people don't work well together, and obviously you guys do work well together. Well, what is the secret there? Method. What is the secret there?
I think we both just got like an A in black metal, you know. So like, it just kind of makes sense to like. There's very little like, you know, oh, this part is lame or whatever, you know, like the stuff we come up with that like you know, we don't even, the stuff we come up with and present to each other is like kind of already, we're like, I feel really good about this part, and most of the time the other guy's like, oh yeah, and then we could do this, and you're like, oh yeah, very much, and then boom.
I mean, there's a couple of different methods, if you will. Like sometimes we'll have just a mouth riff on a phone, you know, just like and then
just today, mouth phone to riff.
I'll be like, hey, dude, I have this riff I want to kind of work out. We'll come down here and we'll just riff that riff and then structure a whole thing out of that. And then other times I'll like write out most of a song and I'll bring it down here and we'll structure it out. We'll write a couple more parts and that's that.
Yeah, we don't have like 4 people that have to get together for band practice, or like one person who likes a totally different style but is like in the band and you're like, oh, I don't know if this guy fits, or we'll see if he can learn this one, or you know, there's none of that, you know. It's like, it's like
one of the pros of being a 2-piece. We don't have to worry about it.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it right now. You guys definitely work well together, and the secrecy of not having those extra members causing problems. The issue is the other people is what I'm hearing.
And not to say that people do that generally, you know, like the guys we work with regularly are like great players who also play in other bands who've done stuff, you know. It's
we
like
don't bring around scrubs or anything.
Yeah, like, you know, everyone kind of gets it in the Storm camp, you know. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's like it's the perfect formula. It's like, it's weird, but a cool weird. It still kind of blows my mind whenever I think about it, you know, like how did this happen? It's like, well, I'm not complaining about it. So
I think it's awesome. As you guys very well know, Vox&Hops is all about hanging out with my metal friends, talking about their lives and music while sharing a craft beer. What drinks do you have on your side tonight that we will be sharing virtually?
Well, I am enjoying a wonderful Space Camper Cosmic IPA, which I'm a fan of IPAs in general. I'm not crazy about, like, we probably talked about this last episode, but I'm not crazy about like sours and I'm a good for a stout or two, but I can't drink like six of them.
I don't really like IPAs and such, but I don't mind a good stout.
Yeah, see, there you go. See, if Jason and I were doing a brewery, it probably just wouldn't work out.
There's the division. I found a divisive topic for Stormruler right there.
Well, he texted me before. He's like, well, I only have a couple of space beers or camp beers or whatever, so I hope you're happy with that. I was like, I'll just go ahead and bring a Truly, which is what I'm drinking.
Well,
of the Mango Lemonade variety. Not bad. The berry Trulies, I think, are the best. But I mean, how can you beat 100 calories, 1 gram of sugar, and 3 carbs?
Yeah, and you know, I will say, Matt, I'm sure you may have experienced this too, but when you're on tour and you're drinking like beers like day in, day out, like after like a week or so, you're like, you know, I do feel like drinking, but I don't want to drink. I'm getting, you know, too much beer drinking for like a week. Like, let's just have a seltzer or 3, you know, to kind of calm down the stomach, you know.
I was very anti-seltzer when they came out, and
White
throughout
Claw
this summer,
Truly is the better of the seltzers.
okay.
I see
I have not had a Truly.
hands clasping Trulies everywhere I go. So it must be onto something.
I was not a fan of White Claw, but I had a few Truly and I was sold.
Over the summer, I did indulge in some seltzers that are coming out up here in Montreal. So I definitely did try some, and I do agree they're light and effective.
One day there could be a Vox&Hops.
Not bad.
Ooh,
Vox and
I did
Bubbles.
pitch. I did Vox and what?
Vox and Bubbles. I don't know. There's Bubbles.
I want it to be black though. If I'm gonna do a seltzer, I want it to be black, but then it's just gonna stain everyone's teeth. My wife says.
Black
So
seltzer.
That could be part of the pitch. That could be
Yeah. Like the new black tooth grin.
It's like that packy chip where it turns your tongue blue.
Oh man.
shout out to Jessica, my wife, producer, for keeping me on track. On my side, I'm drinking something special that I
Nice.
helped create. This was
Look at
for
that.
Brutal Montreal. Heavy Montreal presents Brutal Montreal, which happened back in early September. Featured Deicide, Cataclysm, and Human Condition. I had the pleasure of making beers for Deicide and Cataclysm.
Awesome.
This is OverHop Canada's. They rebranded their Rio Lager in a very cool Legion album
That's right.
art.
Yeah, I like that
love it. It's
can.
very, very cool. 4.6%. This beer disappeared at the show. A lot of
Oh, I'm
people
sure.
were pissed. It was gone in for
Collector's item.
after
Probably
an
have
hour.
that, like on, collected on their shelf. That's a pretty cool can.
Exactly. So I'm going to crack this, and let's talk about it. If you've had any sort of a evolution craft beer wise since our first chat, or you're still staying on track. Jason's drinking seltzers now. You're still on the IPAs.
It could be considered a lateral evolution.
Well, you know, I didn't have any Bush.
Yeah, Bush probably remains our favorite, the official beer of Stormruler, but I, having consumed a few Bushes in the last couple days, I chose to go to I unabashedly am a fan of the IPA. I'm sorry, they're good. Like pint, can, bottle. Well, you never see. I actually rarely see them in bottles. But yeah, dude, it's just a good, fun beer to drink when you know, after post show IPA. I mean, come on.
I have formed a love for sours though. Like I wasn't a big sour fan during the first episode, but since then I've had quite a few that I've liked. And
I'm always down to try the sour, but traditionally they kind of taste vomity. Like, am I wrong? Like they have like a vomity, like
A
bile.
little
taste.
bile.
Maybe I'm just trying
Yes.
like wrong
No,
sours or something.
No, you might be onto something there. There's a little bit something going on with the yeast, maybe that you're not into. But a
Could be.
nice complex barrel aged sour is something like the mixed fermentation, wild fermentation, spontaneous fermentation.
Spontaneous.
Thank
Yes.
you. There was one more
Spontaneous
syllable
fermentation is a good song name, maybe.
to it. I'm in.
it might
I'm
be
in.
the whole like
Yes,
cilantro effect where some folks like it, some folks taste soap, you know.
Yeah, I knew
True.
a guy who hated cilantro.
I love
Like militantly.
My drummer,
I
Flo-
used to hate
Flo
cilantro.
fucking hates cilantro.
Love cilantro now.
Really?
And
Yeah, I
One day,
had an
man.
evolution in cilantro.
one
actually.
day that's gonna split humanity down the middle. The cilantro wars will wage. And Stormruler will be right there to write a song about it.
We did have a great time when you guys came through Montreal for Devastation.
Oh,
Nomination.
absolutely,
Dude,
man.
I was
Turbo. No, sick.
Very, very stoked
Was
to
that the
be
name of the
presenting
bar?
sponsor.
Yeah.
Turbo House, yeah.
That was so fun.
Dude,
Dude,
I actually
we
have
had
a
the
funny story
after
about
party.
that night.
Go for it. Yeah.
there's a few.
Dude, well, the show was great, and then afterwards, we left the vans parked up at Fufun, and we all went up to Turbo. We stayed there till fucking 4:35 in the morning, and had a couple drinks, right? And after we left, we were walking back to the van, and I make it back to the van. I hop in, and I was like, shit, I didn't GPS the hotel. Fufun isn't open. I can't get on their Wi-Fi. I'm not walking back to the bar. We're in Canada, obviously.
No one's phone is like
nobody's phone's working.
No one Canada-fied their phone.
And as we're like, I'm pulling up the map, and I was like, I know the hotel's here, so let's try to like look through the map here.
We old schooled it.
As you know, everything's in French. In Montreal, everything's under construction, so it just made it that much harder.
All the time.
It was probably 6:30 before we made it to the hotel.
Oh no!
Yeah,
that
was an interesting journey, fun adventure, which I
Worth
barely
it.
remember.
Worth it. It was so much
totally.
fun.
It was not bad. Yeah, it was
Massive shout outs to Turbot House for being amazing as always.
Putting up with our USA chants and our
the lager chants.
Constant lager chanting. That was really fun, man. I gotta say.
It was super fun. I had a whole bunch of beers made throughout the journey that you guys were on. Talk to me a little bit about that experience, about showing up at a venue and then seeing beers at the venue with the branding of Devastation on the Nation. Is that something that was a cool experience, or was it just sometimes you guys didn't even notice because you didn't wear
Well, I would say just seeing beers at the venue was a cool experience. Very rarely did they actually like provide us with like beers on that tour, and like everyone seen all the places beers like $8-9 a pop. It's like at the bar. You're like, God damn. So yes, whenever Devastation beers were provided, that was a nice, fucking glorious thing.
So where all was it? There was some in Berkeley, Montreal. Was it Nashville?
Toronto. There was some in Atlanta, but I don't think it made it to the show. Did it make it to the show? Because I never got a follow up on that. I did see pictures of the cans, and I was like, oh, so it did happen, but months later. Sometimes
I don't remember.
I barely remember. That must have been the beers were there.
They probably
That's why I don't remember.
I love it. Looking forward to see what's happening with Devastation of the Nation next year. Defonce, what's going on? Let's talk about this new album. We spoke about it a little bit before. Let's dig deeper into it. Sacred Rite and Black Magick, October 14th. That came out via Napalm Records. Talk to me deeper. You said that you had a lot of the songs written already. You recorded everything before Devastation on the Nation. What concept-wise, where are you at on this record? What's going on? Is it an evolution from the first record? Is it something brand new? Giannis Nakos did the artwork for it. I've worked with him for Cryptopsy to do some merch designs for us. He's awesome. Super.
Dude, he kills it. Crushes on
quick,
everything.
I would say. Like his turnover is
it
amazing.
takes him no time. I think on that artwork, we told him like a little bit of what we wanted. As you might know, working with him, he kind of just takes creative control, and then we'll do what he wants, and then a revision. I think it took one revision of the artwork, and that was it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like a big revision. It was like maybe add this, change a couple colors, and that's that.
Yeah, I mean, we were playing Elden Ring at the time, and I remember being like, "This kind of reminds me of Renala," I just beat this person, and so that was like a really fortuitous kind of turn of events, is like, because I was totally kind of right where we were at, visually, and kind of, I think, well represents the music on the record for sure. And I like the colors too. It's a different color scheme from the first album. It's kind of a different departure there, but also colors that work well black metal wise.
As for like concepts and stuff, there's no like overarching lyrical concept or anything, but musically, I think it's if you ask me, a step up from the last record a little bit. I mean, it's a little more matured sounding, and a little more thought put into it. Considering the first record, as you know from our last conversation, we didn't plan on doing a whole lot. And we just wrote it to write it. This one, we knew we kind of, we're a serious band and had to put some
shit
together.
We already had written 10 songs, so it was like, okay, well, let's like just kind of keep it up. And one or two of the songs from this record were written extremely shortly after the last song from the first record, where we were like, okay, this is enough songs for an album. Like within like weeks, we had at least probably 2 songs from this new album. So we kind of had to put them on the shelf for a hot minute and like focus on getting the first record released officially and all that. But yeah, like the writing of this music was very much could some of these songs could have been on the first album,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So like it's like a development, but it's also we're still doing the thing that we do.
I mean, like the bridge lead and half of the bridge of Along the Appian Way, that was written, I think, maybe the week after we finished.
Yeah, I
everything
mean,
else.
right there.
It was
right there. And we were like, oh, let's not include this one on the first records. We gotta, let's hop it off here. We already have enough music.
It's already an hour long.
Yeah. So it is more or less a continuation of the first record with I think enhancements made as far as we have a lot more acoustic guitar, a better, the first record was more or less done home studio style, A lot of it was recorded here, and the guitars were recorded at our friend Rites' house. And this next record we did, in the studio, the whole thing, with an actual engineer who does this a lot, And yeah, so like it's definitely enhancement sound wise, and there's a couple of musical elements that are like, some of the songs are maybe a little longer, but then we have a couple that are shorter, and then there's a lot of like pounders on this record, but every song has a black metal assault, and then some songs are like assault from the get-go, and other songs have a big build, and it's like it's a good conglomeration.
I think we struck a good balance.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, if anybody was down with the first record, they're going to be down with this.
Yeah.
record.
There's no way that if you weren't, there's no way that people are going to be like, this one is sold me, or I don't know. Like, I think it's just like, I don't know. Maybe they will. I don't know. Who knows? You never know what people are going to say. Or
was there a moment of pressure? Because obviously there's that follow-up pressure. The first one was a success. There's no slow build for Stormruler. It's like you guys came out of the gate swinging, and then here you are having to do a follow-up. The music was written close to the other one, so there's not that pressure of creating the music, but was there a pressure of, is it as good?
Good question.
I think we're pretty confident in our abilities to write, but I don't know. I didn't feel a whole lot of pressure. Obviously, I had to put a little more thought into it and take into consideration, hey, this is actually, going to be on Napalm, as opposed to I write it and then it gets on Napalm.
Right. Recording it in the studio, a lot, like for the first record, we kind of take our time, because we recorded here, and not like necessarily.
I almost think there was more pressure getting the first record picked up and then hoping people liked it, as opposed to now we're a little more confident on this one in our abilities to write, but also had an engineer who knew what he was doing.
I don't think at any point we were like, oh man, do you think people are going to like this music? Like, I think we're the whole time we've been like, this record is really going to crush. And we've always felt good musically about it. I mean, I guess for doing the interludes, I was like, oh, I should do a little more of this and maybe a little less this, and maybe do a different thing or two, and like, put a little, I guess, more thought into it, or a different thought into it, because like one record already existed already. So it's like, well, there's a template has been laid, and so, should do a little more of this or a little less of that or whatever. But I think overall, like, just kind of did our natural thing, and like, here we go. Another one is offered up. It's like, just kind of did our natural thing.
I think it's awesome that being such a young band, you have such a firm grasp on what the identity of Stormruler is. Because a lot of bands, like, it takes time to discover their identity and figure out what actually is this band.
Yeah,
at its
come
core.
Like our fourth or fifth record, we may, who knows what, we may have
we'll become a project.
Yeah, exactly. Like we'll be recording with orchestras and like, weird shit like that.
But that's not that far away. Black metal can have orchestras, and I would like that, actually.
I think it's always interesting around like by the time a band's fourth record, I think it's when they've like molded kind of a unique sound where it's them after listening to it for 20, 30 seconds or whatever, but like, I think at the start of at the start of a band, you kind of have to, very rarely does a band at the very start have something completely unique or whatever, of course it does happen, but bands always kind of do a little bit of aping at the beginning, of their favorite groups or what they're into, with the twist being their own abilities or their own style that innately they have. You know, someone's like, I love Metallica, but here's how I play metal riffs inspired by Metallica or whatever, you know? So there's a little bit of aping at the beginning, and like eventually I think by third or fourth record, you kind of are locking into like, well, this is kind of our style, you know? And like, you know, I'm sure we're getting there kind of already, but you know, we've got plenty of room to learn. There's plenty of things we haven't messed with yet. And, you know, it's always a growing evolution.
You're definitely seasoned musicians, which helps, right? Coming from previous multiple bands throughout the years. This time around, you chose not to have a good friend of mine, Vox&Hops alumni. That episode will be out probably before this one, so you can go back and check it out, people. Derek Engerman.
Oh, Big D.
Played bass. Big D, of course, played bass on the first record. This time around, you did not have his soulful licks.
Yeah, I mean, the first time around, it kind of was like a fun thing that made sense to do, because like we already had the record, and like around the time while we were recording it was around when Derek was in town for the holidays, staying with his parents and stuff, and like just it was like totally a fun thing about.
We just thought it'd be cool.
Have Derek do this. Yeah. Awesome.
His old homie on the record come out and hang on.
I mean, he and I have been nerding on that style for many years, you know, and like I knew he would be the perfect guy, and he would come up with some stuff, you know, that like we might not have thought of. But this time around, like, you know, we weren't recording during holiday time when Derek was in town with his parents, and I mean, you know, Jason is quite a good bass player as well as guitar and drummer, so it just made sense to like keep it.
Knock it out ourselves
this way, because we had this 1 week of time, you know, so it's like
really the whole record 1 week in the studio.
We recorded it in a week.
Recorded it in a week.
Yeah, I think we had like one auxiliary session for tweaks and arrangement of interludery and trackery and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, we recorded it in like a week, you know.
Wow, no, so, people listening at home, that is not a lot of time. So
not a lot of time.
Congrats to you guys for pulling it together.
We put it to the grind.
Stormruler we practiced stuff. We're ready. Yeah.
Very, very cool. The short amount of time between the first album to the second album, where did that come from? Is that a decision by the band? Was that a napalm decision? How this release cycle?
No, that one was us. Mostly because, like I mentioned, we both mentioned, we were starting to write some of this stuff as soon as we were done writing the first record. And honestly, we put out the first record because we wanted to jump on the next material and get it recorded and put it out. But like I said, the first record took off.
We were getting pretty excited about the material on this record, and we were like, we want to get this out there too. Like,
I want to show people this.
Yeah, let's get this going. You know, so we when the call came down, like, hey, let's get started on the next record, we were like, yes, finally. Yeah.
Well, I think we hit up Mo and we're like, hey, we got all this material or demoed out. We kind of want to jump on this, and can you get a hold of Napalm? Make
Big
sure,
Mo, our manager.
Can we make that happen? And they're like, all right, well, here's your due date. Let's go.
Incidentally, the Cataclysm beer. What is the Cataclysm beer?
It was from. I have one in my fridge actually. It was from Brasserie Générale. Sorry, it was from Brasserie Urbaine. BG Brasserie Urbaine from Quebec City. It is a New England Pale Ale, so it's a 5.5%. Juicy pale ale. BG Brasserie Urbaine is a killer brewery, and I love them very much. Cataclysm wanted something a little bit smooth, but they still wanted something IPA-ish. It was a great beer. Very cool. And I definitely want to talk about having Maurizio manage you. I think we touched on it the first time, but dig deeper into that. Like, once, you know, just out of the gate, exploding manager. Maurizio knows what the fuck he's doing.
Oh yeah.
Management company. Is it also called Invictus? He likes the word Invictus.
Distortion Music Group is his company.
Distortion Music.
Invictus Music Group. Distortion Music Group, Invictus.
Shout out to Maurizio.
Invictus is a tight word. I mean, anytime you can use that word, that's a dope word.
I think so, 100%. I probably asked you the first time, like a dream tour for you guys. It's coming. It's like you couldn't have a better tour. Devastation on the Nation was a great package for you guys. You know, Bork Nagar, I can't remember the band's name.
We actually
Christ,
we found out about that tour in the middle of drum
we were
tracking.
in the studio. Yeah, it's like I'm like doing a take, and Jason's like, "Oh, hey, by the way," like from the controller, it was like, "By the way, just landed the Devastation tour," and I was like,
"Yes."
I think I did a drum fill in celebration.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was obviously Veil of Nath, just a killer lineup for you guys to expose yourself to we expose ourselves
every night.
But now in Europe, it's like the dream tour, basically. It's perfect.
You can't. I mean, it's our first time in Europe, and you can't ask for a better package to go over there for your first time.
You really can't.
Yeah, obviously, I'm talking about the Cannibal Corpse Dark Funeral Ingested lineup. It's massive. Like, I've toured with Cannibal Corpse in the States.
That's the first time I ever actually saw you was in St. Louis with Cannibal Corpse and Abysmal Dawn midnight.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, yes. Yes.
Abysmal Dawn. Like 2016 or
2016, exactly. Yeah. And every show was packed, so you guys are in for a wild ride.
Yeah, I'm stoked about that one.
We're psyched for that one. That's beyond tickled to be involved in something like that.
Yeah. There was some rumors that you're bringing out some different musicians to fill out the lineup on that run over in Europe. Can we talk a bit about that?
Yeah, well, we've got our boy Scott Fogelbach from the Lion's Daughter coming with us again. He came with us on the first two runs. He wasn't able to make the Devastation tour, but he's coming with us on this one. And then, as we were talking, Big D, Derek Ingeman.
Bringing Derek for this one. Yep.
He's going to make the haul with us.
Yeah, he's already friends with the Cannibal dudes and the Dark Funeral guys, and he's been to Europe a ton of times.
Yeah,
and he just like, it just makes so much sense logistically and dudistically to bring him. So like, yeah, that's going to be rad. That is going to be super fun. Hopefully we don't get like expelled from any countries for like Belgium or something.
No, that's not going to happen. How does that get explained to the other members and how does that work when you guys fill yourselves up with session musicians, people coming in? Like how do you explain to them that yes, you're a part of the band, but you're not actually a part of the band this time?
I think they get it from the get-go. I mean, they know. We usually have music already written. We're like, hey, here's this stuff. Do you want to go do this tour with us? The first tour, we hit the dudes up and we didn't really know what to expect, like further down the line, if they were going to be coming with us again or what's up. But like, they came with us on the second one. And then, obviously for Devastation, we brought another guitar player. And
we have lots of friends who
they get it. They get it.
Yeah, they're like, plenty of people that are on the team, and some. We're still pretty Stormruler. The band is still new to this, so like, there will be times where something will come up, like, hey, can you guys jump on this tour that starts in a month? And people will. You got to have a stable of people who are going to be able to drop everything and play with you, people that you trust to play well, that you played with before, and that you're homies with for being in a band for a month. And, it's important. I think our friends know that it's like, hey man, I'm there if you need me. And it's just kind of an understanding that we have.
I mean, I don't think anyone, like, none of them really are like a stranger to the concept of session work, like I'm just going to go out with this band for a month or something like that, and they're cool with it.
Yeah, look at look at the bands from Sweden in the 90s or Norway, and they all played with each other, and I did this one album with this band, and I think it'd be so cool to have like in 20 years people will be like, oh, and then the St. Louis scene, I tell you, they were just incestuous, like it'd be cool to be like the Catatonia, bloodbath of St. Louis, where everyone's like friends with each other and playing each other's bands, and like,
as we've been
I love that.
We've been trying to build little Sweden here in St. Louis between like Bastard, like his band Oracle, Harkonnen, Stormruler. It's like
we're
all
like
kind of share the same people.
Yeah. So I'm totally fine with having like, a crew of people that
are just down
to do it, So fortunately, we're in that situation,
Shout out to Dave Polensky, too, another Vox&Hops alumni. That's a part of your stable of crew.
Yeah, total homie, and glad we came up. I remember like it was tough finding someone for that tour because, like some people were in, they were out, and like we had to really lock someone down, and Big Dave stepped up and was a total homie.
Yeah, I mean, like Scott unfortunately couldn't make it because he had other obligations, and then I had a nightmare with another guitar player who like was working out for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then out of nowhere, like it got weird. And then out of nowhere, I had to like hit up some friends, like, "Hey, do you know anybody who's down? Are you
we
down?"
had to dip into another city's scene, you know?
Yeah.
And then,
Okay.
And then we happened to get Dave no more than a month. It may have been 3 weeks to a month before the tour. And he was just like, "Fuck yeah, let's go."
Yeah, and dude was super cool. And multiple times throughout the tour, I was just like, man, I'm glad that you stepped up and like you're awesome. Like it was really cool to have that dude like step up for us, and he's a great person to have in the stable.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
loves
totally.
video games as much as you guys, so that's a good fit.
He played Dark Souls on Switch the whole tour.
I think he did his first.
He
Dark
almost
Souls
beat the
run
game on the from start to finish on the tour. That's pretty cool.
I love it. I love beer collabs. Obviously, I'm drinking one right now that I helped create.
I finished my beer. Can I go get one?
Sure.
All right.
I'll
be
chit
back.
chat.
Grab me one. I'm almost done with my Truly.
All right. Don't talk about me while I'm gone.
I'll just have a moment with Jason here. There he is. Tell me all this shit. What's up with this guy? What's the worst?
And honestly, working with the dude, a nightmare. Like I have to fucking strike the whip every day.
It's all you, right? He's back.
Yeah, this beer actually, Scott, we were talking about. He used to bartend at a spot in town, and I would regularly go in there and be like, "I'll have a space camper." And our other joke was Love Gun, which is a beer made by a brewery here called Heavy Riff. And Scott would bartend actually 2 different places that I'd regularly go. And I could never remember which place had Love Gun. So I would always just go in there and be like, "You guys got Love Gun here?" And then that kind of became our joke. Like no matter whenever I see him, I'm like, "Do you guys have Love Gun here though?" That's like our little joke. Yeah.
I love it. So I love collabs. I like making beer collabs. I make coffee collabs. I just love it. It's something that excites me. If you guys could make something for Stormruler, what would it be?
An Imperial Stout.
IPA.
No, because I know you guys are not going to agree on a beer, so it doesn't
you know what?
have
I
to
think
be a
Imperial
beer.
Stout. I'm already in agreement. That'd be perfect because it should be dark and meaty.
Yeah.
And Imperial like. Yeah. I don't think an IPA is a good Stormruler beer. Truthfully.
So, yes.
Would I want to drink 12 Stormruler Stouts in a night? Probably not, but I would certainly hoist 2. Right?
I like that very much.
That's any stout, really. Yeah.
Mental health. I've been doing this whole segment on mental health for the past few months. When you guys seem very jovial, and I've seen you in person, and you were jovial, but every once in a while we all have shitty days. What are your tactics to get yourselves out of the dumps?
I actually work out a little bit, so I'll try to do that if I have the motivation to it, or I do a little bit of nerding, or I like to hike, so I'll go hike. I do a lot of hunting, so I'll go shoot or something. So yeah, I got a few outlets.
I play pinball. But I play pinball when I'm in a good mood. So, but if you a game of pinball, man, playing some pinball is good for it soothes the soul, man. I mean, you don't think about anything else while you're doing it. So if you're pissed off about something, 2 hours of playing pinball, and then I don't know, maybe it goes away or it doesn't, but you're not pissed about it for those 2 hours. So that's my theory.
Do you have a pinball machine in your house?
I have in the past, but I do not currently. Yeah, I do not currently. You can't just have one. You gotta have 5, or you gotta have 9.
Why is that? Explain this to me now.
Because one pinball game, after a while, you play the shit out of it, and you know every little thing, and after a month, you've gotten to the wizard mode, or a month or 2, and at that point you're like, well, I don't necessarily want to play anymore because I've already seen the whole game, and I put up one really killer game. I'll probably never top that, But if you have 5 machines, they all play different, and so it's but I will never be able to afford until Stormruler becomes, Foo Fighters huge. I won't be able to afford to have at least 5 pinball machines in my house. So I'll just go rent them around town for 50 cents a game or $1.
See, now I'd like to see a Stormruler pinball machine.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Don't even get me started on that. That would be beyond tight. That would be sick.
I can see it already. Janice, get creative for us for more artwork. But
Giannis would be a great dude to talk to about that. Ooh, man.
100%, yeah. If you guys feel like your friends, you guys on tour, let's say, are in a funk, what is your tactic to help each other out?
Each other out?
Yes.
I don't know. Drink a beer, grab a cold beer, and give your boy a beer. Smoke some weed, or I don't know. Just get away for a second and let a person get away and be like, "They just need to chill."
I mean, no matter what, I think getting up and being like trying to be productive in some sort, or moving, like not being stagnant and sitting still, or like slumping around on the couch. Whether you want to hit up a friend to go jam, we'll sit down here and jam sometimes, or just getting up to go do a chore. I mean, something to get you into a flow state where you're focused on the objective instead of like all the shitty things that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of shitty things going on. I mean,
yeah. And as far as like being on tour, like we're probably gonna be like really happy to be on tour for a while. You know, it'll be like 10 tours in.
Oh my
we'll
God,
be like,
we're
"This is
here."
another tour.
Yeah,
you know, like we'll be like, just the fact that I'm like, all I have to worry about is like getting to a concert, playing my drums, and then putting my drums in the van and not forgetting my throne. Like, it's nice. It's kind of liberating when you just think about that. It's like, so that, and how much happier you are to be in that situation than like grinding away at work.
yeah, I mean, I think just finding your flow state, whatever that may be, and getting into it.
Yeah.
Are there moments that you want to pinch yourself? Do you like that you don't believe that this is actually happening?
Yeah.
Like when you get the cannibal.
Yeah,
dark
when I got the text that, hey, do you want to go on Devastation, and the text in the middle of the Devastation tour, driving to Dallas after, which, as you may have known, we had some van fuckery on tour.
Oh my God.
Yes, you did.
And then the last time we had fuckery was in Florida, and we were stuck in Gainesville for a couple days, and we drive out to
home with Tom Petty,
Dallas Fort Worth area, and being in a funk but trying to stay positive. And then out of nowhere we get that email or the text from Big Mo. It's like, hey, I think I've got you guys a spot on the Cannibal Dark Funeral European tour next year. And we're like, fuck,
things feel a lot better now.
Cool.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's nice to have a steady drip of dope news.
That
keeps you keeps you.
Is there a moment that you're afraid that it will just disappear?
Oh, dude. I mean, like, honestly, to answer your question, as far as thinking it's too good to be true, like, I won't believe this Cannibal Dark Funeral tour is actually happening until I am on stage playing the first show. And then I'll be like, all right, we made it.
I mean, honestly,
show. I won't think we've done the tour until the tour is over. And then I'll be like, we made it, because so many things can happen, Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. I'm going to take a drink real quick.
I'm kind of eternally skeptical, kind of on purpose, because I've been burned so many times, and I don't like to be the kind of person who's like, this thing is happening if I don't think it really is going to happen. I'd rather be like, well, this thing might happen, but, blah, blah, blah. So that if it doesn't happen, I'm not like, my foot isn't firmly lodged in mouth, so like, it's so many things that have gone wrong in my musical endeavors that like I never think anything is said until the show is over and I'm going, you know what I'm saying? I mean, seriously.
I didn't know
if, snare case.
Like, I was worried up until the announcement that, I mean, Wolfheart may be able to jump back on the bill or something might happen. Like, they're like, sorry guys, you can't do it. And then dealing with the guitar player fuckery, it was like trying to find a person. It was like,
exactly. Well, it's like, well, shit, if we can't find someone, fuck,
are we going to have to 3-piece this and just like make it work? Or
a good example is there was talk of like the Marduk Belphegor dates in November, like coming up, and we were on it, and it was going to be a thing, and we to the point where we were like, this is happening, it's going to be badass, but that is no longer happening, so it's like, I guess it's not like we're not on it, it's happening, just the tour isn't happening, it fell apart for whatever reason. But point being, I never, until I'm on the stage, I don't think it's happened, until I guess I'm just kind of like that.
I am very, very similar about stuff like that. I typically, up until it's announced. If the tour is announced,
Announcement is halfway there.
I feel a little
Halfway
better
there.
after the
because some
Announcement's
people might
big,
not
you
come
know?
to the show, but that flyer exists. So, yeah, I went on tour with
Yes.
Cannibal.
Once I see my name on the flyer and then other people see my name on the flyer, then it's a little more real.
Yeah, that definitely increases the meter significantly. Yeah.
I'm excited for you guys. I'm can't wait to have you on again for a fourth time. When who knows what's going to be happening at that point? At the rate you guys are going to be at the rate you guys are going.
We've got another record coming out in May.
Your logos are going to start like climbing up those flyers. Is what's going to happen until eventually you're
Maybe, yeah.
headlining. I'm excited.
Yeah.
One last question, classic Vox and Hops wrap-up question. I asked you last time the hangover cure. The answers that you guys gave me were Pedialyte, beer, and weed. Has anything changed there?
Gatorade. I mean, did I not mention Gatorade?
Maybe
Always
a
good.
Monster or like a Monster Zero Ultra or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Still Pedialyte though. You got to get your electrolytes, honestly.
Yeah. Gatorade
And
weed.
and the Wobbly H.
Wobbly H. Yeah, the Waffle House. Yeah, I got to go to
The
Waffle
Waffle.
House. Yeah. As it has been dubbed.
Amazing. Jason, Jesse, thank you so much hanging out with me yet again. 3-time alumni. I can't wait to hang out with you face to face again. We had such a good time. Devastation of the Nation, Turbo House After Party. Amazing. Everyone go check out Sacred Rite and Black Magick. It's a banger. And you know them, they're already working on new stuff right now. So get excited. Get comfortable, but you
Always
guys don't
something up
get
the sleeve.
comfortable. Keep
The
hustling.
iron is never hot. It's always being struck.
Yes.
I appreciate you guys very much. Cheers.
Cheers, brother.
Matthias. Cheers, dude. Is Matt short for Matthias?
Hey, thank you all so much for listening right today. You know that I love and appreciate that. Man, this was an awesome conversation. I really just can't tell you how much I love hanging out with Jason and Jesse. They are truly some of the funniest Vox and Hops alumni out there. Every single time I get asked to have a conversation with them, I always say yes because it's just amazing. So damn stoked about their brand new record, Sacred Rites and Black Magick. If you haven't checked it out, you absolutely should. It's an absolute banger. Massive cheers to Jason and Jesse. Have fun on that huge European tour they have coming up with Cannibal Corpse, Dark Funeral, and My Boys and Ingested. They are going to have a blast. Can't wait to hang out with you guys again. Jason, Jesse, you fucking rule. If you enjoyed this Vox and Hops episode, you should sign up to the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast mailing list. You can do that on my website, voxandhops.com. That's VOXANDHOPS.com. When you do that, you shall receive one email a month that will contain all of the details of everything that has happened recently in the world of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast. You get to see which episodes I dropped recently. We'll get to see which episodes I have coming up. You also get to see which albums the Vox and Hops album review crew have reviewed recently, and you will get to hear about any projects I have in the works before I announce them to the public, and I always have a lot of stuff going on. You will also get to see which albums Jerry Monk, Vox and Hops' metal architect, has added to the Brutal Awakenings playlist. Jerry has the ear for what's going on in metal. If you're looking for new music, the Brutal Awakenings playlist is what you want to be listening to. There is always a lot going on in the world of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast, and I hate when you miss anything, so please sign up to the mailing list. The Vox and Hops Metal Podcast is brought to you by Sound Talent Media and Evergreen Podcasts. I hope you have a killer rest of the week. I will be back this Friday with another Vox and Hops episode, but until then, remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox and Hops heads.